What is happening? Moola, Jason Shepard here. So great to see you all again for another live stream this evening. Bring it to you. What are we on? Day 9? Day 9 of the 14-day Moola challenge. And just so thankful that you're taking time out of your busy night to just spend some time to help make 2025 your best financial year yet. That is what we're really after. Hey, Rami, good to see you over on TikTok. KC, good to see you. Who else is out there? Facebook, YouTube. Pop in the comments and say hi as well over on TikTok. Gigi, nice to see you hopping on here as well. We're diving into today, and Rami, I've been thinking about you all day. Rami's been faithfully on these live streams every night. Rami, I've been thinking about you because today's topic is exactly kind of what got you hooked onto Moola in the first place, which is that 20-mile march. And I want to go even deeper than we've gone these previous few nights and relate that to your financial journey and what that means. You know, yesterday we showed really the power of not just saving, but also investing $5 a day and really seeing the game-changing impact that can have on your finances and what that really does. Whether you're early in your career, whether you're later, whether you got 15 years left to save before you wish to retire, whatever it is, the power of compound interest is what we really learned yesterday. And the days prior to that, for those of you that are just joining us, we talked so much about mindset, so much about just getting deeper, because at the end of the day, as my father would always say to me, believing in you starts with you, Jason. And it is so true. And I just want you to realize that this whole challenge isn't just about making more money. It's ultimately about keeping more money and helping you build wealth, no matter what wealth looks like to you. For some of you, for myself, wealth is being able to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want. If our 10-year-old Ella says, hey, let's go play Barbies, I want to go play Barbies. Not my favorite thing, but I'll do it, right? And I can move those things around. That is the season that we're in right now. And that's what's so vitally important to us in all that we do. So let's dive into this. Let me give the analogy, then I'll give some examples here. And this actually comes from a favorite business book of mine called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And in the book, Jim Collins gives you two teams that are running, so on foot, across the United States. One team sets out and says, I am going to march 20 miles every single day. When the weather is good, when the weather is bad, it's 20 miles. When I don't feel like it, 20 miles. When the weather's great and I feel like I can go more, just 20 miles. When it's freezing cold out, 20 miles. When my arthritis flares up, 20 miles. Right? It doesn't matter. We just keep moving forward on our 20-mile march. Then there's the other team that says, hey, listen, when the weather's good, we're going to go 50 miles. When it's bad, we might only go 10 miles. When it's really cold, we'll probably just stay in our tents and not go anywhere. When it's raining, we'll go like another 5 miles. But man, when we get to the mountains, we're going to really slow it down. But when we get to the plains after that, we're going to really crank it up and go 50 miles again. And it just kind of, they work on what the conditions are like. Who wins at the end of the day? It's the team that does 20 miles every single day when they don't feel like it, when it's raining, when it's cold, when they hit the mountains, and even so, when they hit the plains and the weather's cool and crisp and they feel like they can go 50 miles, they restrain themselves. And they keep, Jim Collins calls it the flywheel. They keep the flywheel going. They keep the momentum going. Now that's obviously related to business, but it relates so well to your personal finances. Yesterday, I gave you the great example of $5 a day. For some of you, that's $35 a week, by the way. For some of you, $5 a day might be your 20-mile march. For others, Rami, we spoke about this yesterday, maybe it needs to be $10 a day, $300 a month. Can we find $300 a month? If we call it $10 a day, we can. Maybe $300 a month sounds scary, but $10 a day doesn't sound that scary. And maybe that's what your march is, right? We have to work to discover what that is for you. Relate this to business. Look at Moola. Many of you know the Moola app is coming out this week. We are just still fingers crossed on that Apple approval. Didn't get today. It still says in review, but we're waiting on that. And I promise you'll be the first to know. And I hope you open your $5 a day account there with Moola as well. But one of our things we're doing in our business is you'll notice on Moola, it is one piece of valuable content every single day on all 4 major platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, every single day. And that's not easy to do, right? We had to work up to that as well, especially as a team. Moola is not a one-man band by any means. We have an amazing team that helps. That's a part of our business 20-mile march, right? We could put a growth number on how quickly Moola wants to grow. You could put a savings number on your savings goals, your investing goals. You need to come up with your march, your non-negotiable. When my wife and I were in another business, we were so focused on this idea, and I've talked about it before, it's so powerful, of paying yourself first. Oh, that's so hard to do. Let me just time out and let me talk about that for a second. It's so easy that the electric company is very good at auto drafting your electric bill. Netflix always faithfully charges your credit card. The rent or the mortgage is always auto paid, faithfully. They tend to do that sometimes, right? And then you get to the 20th of the month and you go, where did all my money go? Why do I have more month than I have money? Anybody ever been there before? Have more month than money, it seems sometimes? That is a frustrating place to be. And a solution to it is to pay yourself first. Meaning when your paycheck comes in, and honestly, how I want you to set it up is so it never even hits your account. Maybe you tell your employer, hey, I want 10% of my paycheck to actually go to this other account that I kind of keep. Yeah, I got the log and I got the password, but I never even log in there. I stashed it away from myself. Then I have, Moola auto deposits into my Moola account or whatever it is. So I'm automatically investing and making smart decisions. Like that is the level I want you to get to eventually, where you can be paying yourself first, and not just paying yourself first, but automating your investments in paying yourself first. That is when things get truly, truly valuable in everything that we set out to do. That's what's important here. By the way, this is my wife's mug. Anybody know the quote, "Smiling is my favorite"? Big, important movie here at the Shepard House. It's important. Anyways, it was the biggest mug I could find, so it was good. I love Rami's comment. Let me post it so everybody can see it here. I got to move this up because I realized on Instagram the comments kind of block it a little bit. Now it blocks my face, but that's okay. It says, old school line, I can't be out of money. I still have checks. Unfortunately, people think that way. How can I be out of money? I still have checks. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't sometimes. The importance of finding your 20-mile mark. And maybe some of you would be so humble to share in the chat. What is or what are you thinking could be your 20-mile march? To start setting aside these small wins. Everybody is looking for these home runs, but the game of baseball is won by a bunch of base hits. The home runs are great. The home runs make it on ESPN. That is wonderful. But at the end of the day, it is a series of base hits that win the game. Hit the ball in just one more time. Get to first base. We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about getting to second base next. Making your way around the plate for the eventual home run, right? What is going to be your 20-mile march? Is it $5 a day? Is it $10 a day? Is it maybe say 10% of my paycheck, start paying myself first? There's so many different things you could be doing, but the thing is consistency. And I realize when you're trying to run across the United States, like in our example, 20 miles, you go, man, I feel like I should be making more progress. No. This is the tortoise and the hare kind of strategy. You want to be the tortoise, not the hare that runs ahead and takes a break and takes a nap and everything else. You want to be just slow and steady. There's a story I've done a video on it before. about Theodore Johnson. Theodore Johnson was a UPS driver. This is back in the 70s. He never made more than $14,000. Now let me time out, stop there. He never made more than $14,000. He started as a 20-year-old working for UPS. He took 20% of his paycheck and he put it, of course, he had a strong bias. He put it all in UPS stock because that's where he worked and he loved the company. Now, I would prefer you didn't put all your money into one stock. That's a big risk, but I'd rather that index fund where we diversify across 500 different companies. But he went all in, never making more than $14,000 a year. He retired with 8 figures when he was 70 years old. He lived a very modest life. And when he retired, he gave, I can't remember what I want to say it was like $7 or $8 million. He ended up giving to charity. I said, where did this money come from? And he shared his story of when he was young, how it was a non-negotiable 20% of his paycheck. It went towards his investments. In his case, all into UPS stock. That's not a plug for UPS stock by any means. What I'm telling you is you have to find the automations. You have to find the small, easy wins. You have to find your 20-mile march. So what I want you to start thinking about tonight is, what is my 20-mile march going to look like? You notice I'm big on this. Like, I'm big on the thoughts you think when you fall asleep. You probably heard me say every live stream like that. Jason guy, so I talk about, like, when I fall asleep, think of abundance. When I fall asleep, and that it's so true. Let your subconscious mind do the work. As you lay in bed tonight, I want you to start to think, what is the small thing I can be doing that repeated over and over and over and over will reap very large rewards? And it could just be as simple as $5 a day. $10 a day. Maybe you do the math on that. You know, we did the math yesterday. I think I'll use Rami as an example. We did the math on that yesterday, Rami, and maybe that math made you excited. Maybe that math said, no, Jason, that's not enough. I don't know. That's between you and your family and your situation as well. Maybe it needs to be 20 a day. I don't know. You've got to figure that out, what works for you. What needs to happen is consistent. What you can't do is go, okay, I got that tax refund coming in. I'm going to invest that. And then, the AC went out, so I got to pull some out of there and do this. And then, I got that bonus check coming. I'll do that. No. It is consistent. $5 a day, $10 a day. Tax refund comes. That would be great to add to that as well, right? A bonus on top of that, even better, right? To expand on that. But you can't live your life windfall to windfall. That's how you get yourself in trouble with that. Be so mindful of that. So again, I'm trying to keep these live streams short and to the point. Tomorrow, I'll be diving into the specific ETFs that I actually use and invest in, and showing you how to do that as well, and making some smart recommendations there so you can start that march. But tonight, some homework for you as you fall asleep. I say that a lot. What's your 20-mile march? What is it going to look like for you? What is the one thing you're going to do consistently over and over to get and reap the greatest reward? Wealth is however you define it. And it's not always defined in a very large number. You may have a freedom number, but wealth is doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want. And that number that gets you there is much smaller than you actually think. So think about that as well. Listen, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your night. I'll see you all back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be diving into the specific investments that I'm making now, and you can make them too. I'll see y'all.